All right, welcome back to our June Saturday sampler here at Close to Home Sewing Center in Southington. You need to bring in your completed May intermediate block beginning this Friday, June 13th, through the end of June, that would be June 30th, to get this June's kits free. So you have that time between the 13th and the 30th to show me May's block. Also, big savings on new and gently used sewing, embroidery, and sergers machines right now. So come on in if you are in the market and really want to look for a good deal. We have also put out a new stock of our 50% off Finish the Bolts, and those will be from this Friday, June 13th, until next Saturday, June 21st. So the basic sampler people can also share in that 50% off bolts. Okay, so that's it for announcements. I just want to go over the block and some cutting, and then we're going to get right into the applique because the piecing is super easy. Okay, this month is the multi-sized curved corner cutter, and I will show you more in detail that ruler that we're going to be using. We did use it in 21 and also in 23, so if you took my my blocks back then, you would probably have my ruler. So the main thing about this block is that we create the background first, then we applique our curved pieces to the front, to the top. And it gives it a little bit of a different motion in the block, and you don't have to worry about curved piecing, but it is appliqued. All right, so over here we have our cutting instructions. The white, you're going to need 4 3.5-inch squares. So I just took, a 3.5, 3.5, and made my 4 squares. Those are the corners for our pieced block. And then the rest of these are for half square triangles. So you're going to need 6 3 7/8 of the white, 4 3 7/8 of the blue, and 2 3 7/8 of the light swirl. Only on the white blocks, 3 7/8, are you going to draw a single diagonal line. These are your typical half square triangles where we want a finished 3-inch square. So we're cutting all our units 7/8 inch larger. We're going to draw our diagonal, put them right sides together, and sew a 1/4 inch from the line from each side. Now, the button and the magenta that you get in your kit, don't cut that. Those are going to be used to put a fusible webbing on. We're going to go ahead and draw a little grid and cut our shapes for those. So no need to cut those, but do put some Mary Ellen's Best Press starch on your kits prior before you cut your shapes. So let's go over the half square triangles very quickly. Our background piece. These are all made up of half square triangles, obviously, except for my 3.5-inch corners. All right, so we have our light swirl with the white and our blue with the white. So each of these gets pieced as a block, but your block's not done yet. It's just a start. So it starts from this very basic beginning, and then we're going into the applique. So for the applique, you will need the multi-sized curved corner clipper. And when I say multi-sized, I mean the radius corners on this are 3-inch radius here, a 2-inch radius corner here, and a 1.5 here. Great for making mug rugs, anything where you want curved edges, even on your quilts. If you want to curve the corner of your quilt so you don't have to, miter around the corner with your binding, it's a really nice ruler to have. All right, so we will be using the 3-inch radius corner on this, and this is our 90 degree, which we're going to draw our lines for. Okay, so let me put this down for a sec and get to the grids that we're going to make. So also, you're going to have to purchase, beside the ruler, you're going to have to purchase a piece of light Steam-A-Seam 2, and what that is a double paper or a double-sided fusible webbing. So when I rip off the back of this, I have the paper, I have the fusible, and if I pick at this a little bit more, I will have paper on this side as well. So it goes like this: paper, fusible, paper. All right, so what we're going to do is it doesn't really matter, I'm going to use the yellow lines side to do all my drawings on. And what I'm going to do is make 8 3-inch blocks. Now, this is 12 inches, so we're going to go with that. I mean, sometimes it's a little bit shy of 12 inches, but I'm not really worried about exactly making it fit. I'm just going to get as close as I can because I have, basically 12 inches to work with. So here's my first line that I'm just going to draw nice and close to the edge. Oops, got to draw it all. So we're just going to make this little grid. We're going to do this twice, once for the magenta and once for the green buttons. Just going to put my ruler down. I'm going to draw a 3-inch line. Oops. 3-inch line. I'm just using a pen. You don't want to use a friction pen because it will erase as soon as you heat it, and we don't want that. All right, so there's my next 3-inch, and then all I'm going to do is cut this off. So as you can see, I have a 3-inch and a 3-inch. These are now going to be cut into or drawn into 4 3-inch squares. So I'm going to come back. I'm just going to use the edge of my ruler, draw one, and again, they don't have to be super perfect because as you go, you're just going to use the ruler to cut. And then one more, lining them up with the lines that I've drawn. All right. So again, we're going to do this again. I'll just do the magenta for now, but you're going to do it again. Same thing for the green buttons. All right, so once I get my lines drawn, I'm going to peel this paper off the back, and I'm going to hold on to the paper with the webbing on it. Okay, so you just got to kind of pick at this a little bit. And make sure that you do get the webbing. There we go. All right, so I got the webbing on this side where all my lines are, and then this is just the paper. So we're just going to peel that paper off, throw that away, grab the wrong side of our magenta, and gently place our sticky side down on the magenta fabric. Okay. Now, if your magenta isn't as wide, I would either get a Teflon sheet, something that's not going to get stuck to, or I would just trim off the excess fusible. Because we don't want it to stick to our iron, and we certainly don't want it to stick to our ironing board. So I still, as you can see, I still have plenty of room on the side. So now what I want to do is go ahead and fuse this down with an iron just to stick. It's only temporary right now, but I definitely want to just hold this hot iron against it and just kind of melt that fusible to the wrong side of my magenta and my green. Okay. Again, if you had excess fusing around the edges, you want to make sure you do use a Teflon sheet. Okay. So now it's permanent. This fusible is on the wrong side of our magenta. So we're going to go use our creative grid ruler. And so what we're going to do is we're going to place that 90-degree corner. Do you see here's my 3-inch radius. So this solid line that makes up my radius from this point to this point is going to go right into the corner of the one I drew. And we're just going to go ahead and give that a nice cut. So we're going to go in, hold that rotary cutter up nice and straight until we get our piece cut. And now we're going to turn this around, and instead of using the square side, the two lines that intersected is going to go to this point and this point. So I'm going to touch here and touch here. See my line? So at that point and this point, and I can go ahead and cut my shape. So as long as this point and that point are there, you can go ahead and cut your template. Okay, so I'll do one more by placing my solid line, and it's meeting up right here. If it doesn't meet up and it's a little extra or a little less, don't worry about it. The shapes are your shapes. They don't have to be perfect. They are just little petals that we're using. All right, whoops, wrong side. All right, so find the 3-inch corner and match up these 2 points with the tips of, or the points of the shape. And then just give it a nice bend. So we're going to continue to do that for 8 of the magenta and 8 of the buttons. All right, so once we get all those shapes, we're going to grab a pin. Let's see if I can find a pin. And this helps score the back of these so we can pull the paper off easier. So all I do is take my pin with a little bit of pressure and just make a straight line down. And it just kind of tears away. And of course leaves all that sticky on the back of our applique sheet. So this is raw edge applique. Once we get all of our shapes finished, we can go ahead and start placing them on our background however you want. I think I have to look at my cheat sheet here. I have this one going from here to here, and again, you want to make sure that you have your 1/4 inch seam allowance up here. If you don't like it, you can just pull it off. It sticks pretty good, but it's temporary until we fuse it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do each of the corners. Come on. Making sure we don't lose our 1/4 inch. And again, this is just temporary, just making sure that they go around where we want them. If you don't like them like this, you can certainly change them up a little bit. It's up to you. Just going to match that up from this point to that point. And then we have a nice circle going around here. So half is the light multi-swirl and half is the white. And I've done all these ahead of time. There we go. It really does change it up quite a bit. We can have a lot of fun by doing whatever colors or positions that we want these to be in. And again, they all kind of meet. Don't forget my little 1/4 inch seam allowance. And these are just going to go. I mean, I could have done a 3x6 flying geese here, and I could have done a square and a square. That certainly would have omitted any of the seam allowances. And when you are making your background piece, you want to make sure that you do press your seams open. My half squares, I just went to the dark side, but when I sewed them all together, my rows and all my half squares together, I did open the seams because it does reduce a lot of the bulk where we're going to be putting our applique pieces. All right, so I got 3 more. Once we get these in place and we're happy with it, right now it's just temporary. I can just stick and move it later. I could come back to it later if I want to move anything around. And the last one is here, just like that. It should all kind of meet right at the end. Okay, so once we are happy with this, we're going to go to the iron and we're going to gently press our pieces to adhere them to our background unit. All right, so we don't want to really iron, we just want to kind of pick it up. I think I'm happy with that. Yeah, close enough. A little bit of heat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can put a little bit of steam on it if you want. That's fine. I just use regular heat. We're going to make sure it's all fused down. What you want to avoid is going back and forth with your iron, because these can pick up on little parts of your iron, and then it would be messy. Messy. Okay. All right, so all our shapes are down. They're all fused on. There's no turning back. The last thing we want to do is do some applique. So of course, when we're appliquing, we want to, just like in January when we did the Dresden plate, we want to make sure that we have a little bit of a tear easy stabilizer. I'm just going to place my square on here. It just helps hold the applique stitches in place so much easier, so much better. And it is kind of a pain to, yes, tear it away, but it does help a lot. So I've done a couple little samples before I get into the applique. I've done a few little samples of applique. This is a normal blanket stitch going around these 3 sides. That's what the machine says as a single applique stitch. When I went to this side, I changed the stitch to the double blanket stitch. So it goes over itself and back over itself and over itself a couple times. This is just forward, in, just like that. So there's these, which are kind of the normal ladder stitch or blanket stitch. Then we have this one that stitches to the right and to the left, and the center goes right down the edge of your applique shape. There was this one that was it was this, but heavier. Again, just like it goes over a few times, and then I just did a satin stitch. There was a satin stitch built in. I'm not really good at satin stitch, but you can certainly use a satin stitch. And then the last one I did was the size that I chose. I like very, very small blanket stitches. So my width is 1.6, I think, 1.6, and 2.0 for the length. So really close together. All I'm doing is trying to hold that applique shape on so that when it gets long arm quilted or washed, none of the edges come up or get frayed. Okay, so let's switch over. I'll do real quick, I'll do one wedge for you, one corner piece, and then that'll be it. What you want to do is make sure you have a open toe foot so that you can see your stitches. all machines, we can get an open toe foot for you, but it's really good to have that nice visual as you're going down the edge. And on my Bernina 475, which I'm working with, there are quite a few stitches to choose from. I am in this is the normal stitches, but right here I'm in the quilting stitches, and that's where I can find all my fun little blanket stitches, my satin stitches. You can even use, if you don't have zigzag, you might have a blind hem stitch. Okay, you can even use that. And then of course there's a lot of stitches for crazy patches. So this is the one I prefer. It's called 1309 on the Bernina 475. And what we're going to do is you want to make sure that you lock your stitch when you begin and end. So I don't start right at the corner. I'll start usually a little bit in. So I drop it right down centered on my foot. I'm going to hit the knot, which will take a couple little securing stitches. So as I stitch, it's going to go right on the line between the patch and the background. So here's a couple locking stitches. And then I like, what did I say, 1.6 and 2.0. So it's going to go forward. It's going to go left, back to the right. It's going to go forward, left, right, forward. Always, when you're coming forward, you're going to want that needle to ride right along that line. And these are tiny little stitches, and I picked a good color. I have a lot of colors picked out for you guys to choose from for your applique stitches, whether it's cotton thread, polyester thread, it could be an embroidery thread. They all work, okay? So then you're just going to go around, kind of turning. If I had to really corner, I will stop like up at the point up here. But I'm just kind of using my hand to pivot to keep that needle straight along that line. All right, so I'm approaching the point. So I want to go left, right, forward, left, right, forward, left, right, forward. And that's where I'm going to stop with my needle down. I'll pivot. It's going to go left, right, forward, left, right, forward. And it's going to continue all the way down to the other side. I'll pivot one more time, and then we're going to tie off. On the white, if you go too far on the white, you're going to see a lot of the purple thread, but I caught it pretty close to the edge, and that's really what you want to do. You don't want to see the purple line way out on the white with the fingers barely coming onto the applique shape. So again, you can make them wider, farther apart. It's totally up to you. I find having it smaller helps me manage the corners and the points easier. I kind of went over on my green. I apologize. That was not what I intended. All right, so here comes, I'm coming back to the starting point. I'm going to take a couple stitches right on it, past it. I'm going to hit my knot one more time, or you're securing, or however you secure or knot your thread. So it's going to take a couple locking stitches, and I'm going to stop and lift, and that's it. And you can see from the back that it did all the applique going around. We're going to trim our threads, and next thing we're going to do when we're all done everything is to gently just rip away our tear easy. And I found getting in these little points and in these points, I used a tweezer just to kind of lift it and pull it away. Okay, so go ahead, give that one more press after you are done appliquing all your shapes. After I did the purple ones around the sides, the green ones were easy because I went in, up, and all the way around and back. So I could do each of these kind of in one applique motion. This one on the inside, I just literally went all the way around first, And then I came in, I went in, inside, and stopped. So you just don't have to do each one individually. Find ways to kind of go through them a little bit quicker. I hope you love applique as much as I do. It was really fun to make this block this month, and come on in and grab your June kit. Thanks for watching.